Hey Breck students, Frank here from AFP, and today we're going to be talking about guitar effects pedals. And I've sort of broken apart my pedal board to just bring to you some different varieties of guitar pedals. So the first one that I have in my hand is called the Chromatic Tuner, which to me is probably the most important pedal on the whole board. This guitar pedal allows you to bypass your guitar signal while you're tuning. And I think that's incredibly helpful for when you're getting on stage and you don't want to be obnoxious and like tuning as you're, have the amp on. Like, no one ever wants to be that guy. So you either want to tune before the show and have this like kind of plugged into the wall, or you'll have this like, on stage as your drummer setting up, or this is just really helpful for the setup, and the in between, like let's say you find yourself in the middle of a song and you feel like your guitar is in tune. This allows you to nonchalantly bypass and kind of tune without interfering with any of the other musicians. Like let's say you're in the middle of the song and you're trying to tune, you don't have to you don't hear yourself checking the G string as you're in the middle of a performance. So I really recommend this guitar pedal. I really like it, and it saved my life a couple of times. And it looks cooler than a clip-on tuner to me. So the second guitar pedal that's on my guitar pedal arsenal is the wah. The wah is a filter pedal that allows us to change the dynamic of our guitar signal, and it gives it an effect much like this. So if I'm playing the guitar, it's like, if I go down, it kind of opens the wah, like wah, 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 wah. It's pretty cool. This is not really my guitar wah pedal. This friend lent this to me for the duration of us recording this album together. But this is just one of many styles of crybaby. This is called the crybaby, by the way. You could probably walk into a store and say, hey, can I get a wah pedal? And they'll most likely bring you to this one. Is this the Dunlop original? Yeah, this is a Dunlop one. So, yeah, a guitar wah pedal. Wah, wah, wah. Pretty cool. It's really cool sounding when you have like a delay or a distortion with that like combination. Oh, my favorite. But we'll get to that in a second. So after the wah is my first distortion, which I don't really use as a distortion. I use as a crunch. Now, there's no rule book to that, but I just like having the, tuner first, then wah, then my first distortion. This is the Germanium Super Fat mod by Keeley, and it sounds pretty, exactly what it's in the name. It's really a fat tone guitar pedal. But I don't really use it as a, for the fat quality of it. I use it for the flat quality of it. I want my tone to be thin because I'm really going for the crunch. And I don't cut too much of the low and mid off. It gets replaced by the next guitar pedal I'm about to bring up. But yeah, this is a really cool distortion pedal, and I recommend it if you are trying to get into lead tones or anything like that. So yeah. And just because I love talking about things from an economical standpoint, you can find the tuner for anywhere between $50 to $100, 50 used, 100 new. This you can find anywhere between 100 and up, because there's vintage wah pedals, there's newer ones, there's ones with modded knobs on the side where you can make your wah into an expression pedal. So many endless possibilities. So yeah, that's one to look out for. And my next distortion, which is an overdrive, much like the Germanium one that I have, is the Dark Matter, which I think is one of the most coolest sounding guitar pedals from TC Electronic. It's a TC Electronic brand that makes this, and it's just my favorite lead tone. It's become my lead tone. It works great through a tube amp. I crank this sucker all the way sometimes, and it just sounds really dope, and I really love playing with this guitar pedal effects. So yeah. So the last two Both the germanium fat mod and this are both distortions. And then we have the Big Muff. This is this pedal I don't own. This is a friend who lent me this pedal, but this is the Russian mod one, I think, and it just sounds crazy. Like, I have this as like the last distortion before my modular pedals, before like my delays and reverbs. This is the last pedal out of my distortion, and it just sounds really crazy when they're all together. By itself, it sounds, you know, pretty thick and tough, but with both the germanium and dark matter, or just the dark matter, or just the germanium, this pedal is really cool in combination with either or both. Sounds really dope. So there's bigger versions of this. This specific pedal sounds great with bass guitars and different type of lead guitars, and a lot of people use it in their, you know, pedal board arsenal. A lot of famous people have used this. I recommend getting into the Big Muff, but just let you know, when you buy this guitar pedal, I wouldn't say buy it as your first guitar pedal, because you'll notice that when you buy it, it's really quiet. It's not as loud as you want it to be. It's more distorted. You know, it's not more about volume than it is distorted. So, like, this type of pedal needs a distortion pedal before this. So, I would say get into getting lead tones first. Like, get into this, get into the different types of distortions, you know. But don't make this your first type of lead tone. I don't think it's worth it. I would say get into an actual distortion pedal before buying a Big Muff. Okay, now I'm not gonna pull. I have a pedal that is not in the video that I won't pull out because it's kind of just bulky and unnecessary. So I'm gonna skip that pedal, and I'm gonna talk about a modular pedal, the Ethereal by Wampler. A friend that was going away let me borrow this, and he kind of never came back, and I've been holding it for him ever since. This is the Ethereal Wampler delay and reverb, and it's cool. And the reason why I didn't pull off that other pedal I was talking about that's on my pedal board is because this pedal right here kind of sums it all up. The reverb and delay, it's kind of split down the middle. It has a delay mode where you can, you know, change the type of beats that the delay lands on. You have a delay repeat knob, which is right here. You have the feedback knob, where it kind of, you know, you can manipulate how much feedback you get from the delay. You have your tone knob, which most guitar effects pedal have. You want to be able to blend the tone of the actual effects on your guitar tone, which is a pretty cool, you know, feature to have. And then you have your reverb mix and delay mix, where you can blend the two, because this is one guitar pedal with two separate modular effects. So you can blend the two or have either or, which I think is, this right here is the heart of my guitar board. Like, this pedal right here runs, I think, about $200 and up. Modular pedals are very expensive, and it sucks because they're the funnest pedals. Modular pedals like flanger, phaser, chorus, delay, reverb are so fun to use. They're my I prefer them over the distortion, because when you have an amp like Blues Deluxe Princeton, or, you know, any type of tube amp, the distortion's kind of there for you. You know, I rely on tube distortion before I rely on pedal distortion, because pedal distortion for me is, and this is an opinionated thing, is for the stage, is to replicate the awesomeness of an album, you know, on stage. But the guitar amps that, you know, that use tubes, like the Hot Rod Deluxe, Blues Deluxe, have a really awesome drive and distortion. So the combination of those drives and the pedal like this sounds amazing. Now, for those who already have a delay pedal and a wah pedal and all that, a really cool trick, if you haven't already done it, is turning on your wah, your distortion, and your delay, and like just manipulating the wah while the delay and distortion are on. It's like one of the coolest experiences ever for a guitar player when you're like learning about your tone and you come across that specific combination. It's like, holy snap. Now, the guitar pedals are linked together by these 1/4-inch patch cables. and they go in. I'm just going to give you an example. So there's a direction that we all follow in the guitar pedal world. And let's say that I'm going to link this chromatic to this delay reverb. I would go to my output right here on the left hand side of the pedal, lock that bad boy in there, and then if you see, there's an arrow pointing outwards and there's an arrow pointing inwards. What do you think that means? Input and output. So I'm going to put this in the input one, and now I've bonded these two pedals so a signal can go through these two pedals. There is something called a daisy chain that you see these little ports on top. That's the power ports. You can plug a source. I think I'm going to stand up and show you mine. Let me see if I can go get mine. 1 second. Stay right there. Perfect. Glad I had them nearby. So something like this would link the power of these pedals together, and you would connect it to a wall. It's like a regular AC adapter, 9 volt, like this, and it powers the pedals. So now, I've spoken to you about most of my pedals. I've broken them down on what they do. Now I gotta have those serious conversation with you guys, which is, you don't, and I've said this before about other gear, I've said this before about MRT gear, which is music recording technology, you know, microphones, cables, speakers, studio stuff. It's the same exact thing in the guitar world. You do not need $400, $500, $600, $700 worth of effects pedals to sound good. You don't need it. It's not necessary. I really try to tell my beginner guitar players who are, you know, kind of on their way to figuring out what tone is and like paving the path in the musical world. I try to tell them, you know, go for the thing that's gonna connect you more to your instrument. Go to the thing that's gonna push your sound, but don't use it to mask your what you bring creatively. Don't use guitar effects pedals because you think they're gonna make you sound better. Don't use guitar effects pedals if you think they're gonna make you look better or sound better to the audience. It doesn't. Take it from me. I've learned a lot about my guitar playing, especially after I got out of school, like after I got out of college, after I got out of high school, and started hanging out with, you know, cats that were playing shows every week, and going to see real cats that can play and, you know, jam and without the use of guitar pedals and effects. Those are the things you want to really strive for. You want to be able to wow yourself and amaze yourself without the use of these things, you know. Now, on a positive note, guitar effects pedals eliminate, which I'm pretty sure for the beginner guitar players, they eliminate walking to the amp, changing the volume, changing the tone with your fingers. And that sounds awesome, and it's so cool to have at the tip of your toes, but it's just not the thing that's going to make you the guitar player you want to be. You are the thing that is going to make you the guitar player you want to be. So on that note, shop economically. Be smart about what you're investing in, especially in days like this. You know, this pandemic has definitely been an eye-opener for many of us, and, you know, I've been spending my time making a lot of music. It's funny, I haven't actually been using guitar effects pedals in the last 2 months, away from being a live musician, working with artists every day, going to gigs, playing at rehearsals 4 or 5 times a week. I used to carry guitar pedals every day to and from work, to rehearsals, back to home. And they break your back, you know, and this is really heavy equipment. I said that in the last video about the guitar amps. You don't need $400 or $500 guitar amp to sound good. You need to sound good. Your hands are the things that make the guitar sound good. Everything else is output. So, yeah, on that note, I hope this video was informative for you, and if you have any questions, please leave your questions in the comments below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. This was a great week, and I'm glad that a lot of knowledge was given out. We got to make a lot of videos, and I hope to make some more videos next week. So on that note, happy Thursday, and I'll see you Monday. Have a good one, guys.